Come one, come all, welcome into Cronkite Sports Live. I'm Nick Batters. He is Harley Year Out. Thanks for spending a small part of your day with us here at CSL and Harley. Today, we're going to have everything you need to know on Sun Devil athletics. Basketball, hockey, a fiery ring, and as our dear friend Jake Garcia would say, enthusiasm unknown to mankind on this Chamber of Commerce type day. And with that being said, Harley, how are you doing today?
Nick, I'm doing great. I'm honored to be sitting behind the desk with you for this jam-packed show that we have today.
You're too kind. And jam-packed indeed. You're a basketball guy, right?
I am.
Man, ASU Basketball, they've been looking pretty good lately. After edging out Oregon State last Thursday, the Sun Devils beat Oregon on Saturday 78-64. It was their first two-game weekend sweep in Pac-12 play since beating USC and UCLA last February. It was just the third time in the last 5 years the Devils won both games in a weekend, and Tyler Mannion was there to capture the action.
Saturday night hoops in Tempe with white-hot action right from the start. It was Ducks vs. Devils as ASU looked to complete a home sweep of the Oregon schools. We looked to be in for a classic Pac-12 heavyweight fight early on, with both teams trading blows. Peyton Pritchard was the first half shining star as he took his team into the locker room with this. The second half would be a completely different story, and Zylan Cheatham would take center stage.
I had to. I mean, he's an elite shot blocker, so I mean, I wasn't trying to be on the other side of Sports Center. So it was pretty much me or him once we got in the air, and I won this battle.
After one of the greatest dunks in program history, the bank was rocking, and ASU would capitalize. Not one, not two, not three, four, even 8, 9, or 10, no. It was a 19-0 run for Sun Devil hoops tonight that carried them to victory over the Oregon Ducks. The Devils continued their hot shooting and picked up the defense to eventually put the Ducks away.
To know you're playing a team that's playing pretty well, and to do what we were able to do in the second half shows like where we could take it if we focus on the right things.
ASU will now look to do something Hurley's tenure has never seen. Take their brooms on the road next weekend and attempt a sweep of the LA schools. Reporting from Wells Fargo Arena, Tyler Mannion, Cronkite Sports.
What a win it was for the men's basketball team, and to take a deeper dive into that victory, we welcome in WCSN basketball analyst Jacob Rudner. Jacob, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
We're just going to get right into it here. The Sun Devils had 78 points in that game and went on that huge 19-0 run to really seal the deal. What were they doing so well offensively?
Well, the Devils' success on offense came throughout the night, definitely on that 19-0 run, but something that they did really well was pick apart the zone defense that Oregon runs throughout the game. They don't ever transition into that man defense, and we're going to see that right here using player movement. As you can see, Rob Edwards crashes towards the basket, and what that's going to do is draw the attention of 4 Oregon defenders, and that's going to create a lot of space for Zylan Cheatham, who's got the arrow down low. He's going to make his way towards the corner to find that open space because Rob Edwards creates distraction using movement. Remy sees it. Zylan gets the shot off, doesn't hit it, but the idea was there with player movement, and we're going to see that one more time. Right here, Luguentz Dort, he knows what needs to happen. He gives the ball to Remy, who's going to crash towards the outside. Tayshaun Cherry, Zylan Cheatham set up down low. Zylan knows he wants the mismatch. Tayshaun runs down to the corner to make a distraction, and you got Zylan Cheatham all alone towards the basket, and as we've seen this season, that's really dangerous.
Absolutely. The Sun Devils were playing actively on offense all night. 17 assists, a pretty good number for them. What were they doing so well on that front?
Well, we saw them pick apart defense well with player movement. Again, moving that zone around as players shifted around the court. They did the same thing with passing, and we're going to see that in 2 plays right here. You have Rob Edwards, Luguentz Dort, and Remy Martin set up top, and Zylan Cheatham down low. Zylan's all alone. He's going to draw the attention of 3 Oregon defenders. Remy sees that Peyton Pritchard all alone with 3 Sun Devils. Peyton's got to decide. He crashes towards Lou. Lou moves the ball to Rob Edwards, and they get the scoring started. Second play we have is Luguentz Dort again. He's going to crash towards the basket. Again, we see that collapse of zone defense. Tayshaun Cherry is wide open because of it, and he'll be able to distribute that ball backwards for, again, a wide open 3-point shot.
Absolutely. Such a good night for them on offense. Now, the Sun Devils are off to California. ASU is 3rd in the Pac-12 right now. USC is 4th, and UCLA is 5th. What can the Sun Devils expect from this week's road trip?
Well, Harley, if we've learned one thing throughout this season, it's that there's absolutely no certainty in the Pac-12. And again, the case here. What we can look at, though, are the numbers that these teams have put together to start the season. ASU has been first in scoring in the Pac-12, and they're going to take on a team that has been third both in the Bruins and in the USC Trojans with 78 points per game. Devils started out the season really hot, one of the best not only in the Pac-12 but in the NCAA in rebounding. They've dropped down to second. UCLA's taken that first spot. And throughout the rest of the stat sheet here, we see top schools in the Pac-12. It's going to be a grind-out type weekend for ASU, and they're going to need to get some wins against some tough teams.
Absolutely great stuff from Jacob. For more coverage of ASU men's basketball, head to cronkitesports.com.
While the men won both their outings in Tempe, the women traveled to Oregon over the weekend. Before those games, ASU was 0-3 this season against top 10 opponents, and that trend continued with a 77-71 loss to the Ducks on Friday. But on Sunday, the Devils finally broke through, beating then number 10 Oregon State 79-76 in a double overtime thriller. Kiana Ibis posted a season-high 28 points and didn't miss a shot in the second half or overtime periods. Now ranked 16th in the nation, ASU returns home to play UCLA on Friday and USC on Sunday. Arizona State women's hockey has been off for nearly 2 months now, but the number 15 Sun Devils aren't back in action this weekend against number 10 Minnesota. And to dive deeper into the Devils, we welcome in WCSN women's hockey insider Reed Harmon. And Reed, this team so far is 7-8-1, but if you look at it from a pure statistical standpoint, it does seem like they've made an improvement from last year. Would you say this year's team is already better than last year's?
Yeah, head coach Lindsey Ellis must be pretty pleased with the outcome that's going on right now. They're 1 game away from tying their win total from last year with 8. They already have 10 more goals than they did last year, and they still have 4 more games to play before the playoffs start, so it'll be exciting to see. Another thing is that the freshmen, 11 of the 18 skaters on the ice that are freshmen, they've contributed 66% of points. So yeah, it's been a pretty big deal with freshmen on that team.
Kat Jones about to break the team's scoring records. That'll be a fun statistical category to keep an eye on. And the conference playoffs for ASU, about a month away. They play those in Vegas at the end of February, but in between now and then they play Minnesota this weekend, and then GCU in a couple of weeks. Those GCU games are going to be the only conference games they play before the postseason. What do they need to do in these final 2 series to gear up for their playoff games in Las Vegas?
So Minnesota's always been a really tough contest for them. As long as you stay competitive, I think with the GCU series, you have to take that series if you're ASU. Minnesota, stay competitive, maybe tie the series, who knows. But if they start fast, that's been a problem for them lately, is being able to start fast and get pucks in the back of the net. If they can do that and they could be successful with staying competitive, that's a big thing for them.
Now, focusing on this weekend specifically, Minnesota is only ranked number 10. I say only because historically they've been a very good team, but they're still going to be a tough opponent. What does this weekend series look like for ASU? What do they need to do to come out, I guess, on the successful end? Yeah,
so a big part of ASU, like I said, are the freshmen compared to Minnesota, who the big part of them is the veteran presence that they have. Half of the team are upperclassmen. That means that there's seniors and grad students on that team. So that's a big deal for them. Minnesota, historically, like you said, always been pretty good. This year, not so much. They've scored just 26 goals this year in 9 games. Nothing surprising about that, but it will be interesting to see what happens this weekend.
Arizona State hosts Minnesota this weekend. Friday's game, 5:30 p.m. Saturday's contest, bright and early, 7:30 a.m. Join myself and Reed for the broadcasts on Facebook Live at facebook.com/Cronkite Sports.
Number 16 Sun Devil gymnastics team was back in action against number 2 UCLA on Monday. 3 Sun Devils earned career-high scores en route to a second-place finish. Cairo Leonard Baker and Morgan Hartbow set new career bests on bars, while Justine Callitz won the individual beam title after setting a career high of her own. The Sun Devils scored a 196.125, good for the highest mark of this season and their highest total mark since the Pac-12 championships last year. After the meet, WCSN spoke to head coach Jay Santos.
The back half of the floor rotation, really stepped it up again. So lots of positive. I thought they handled the atmosphere really well. Like, we didn't come in here and do all kinds of different things. Like, we did what we've been working on and we improved. So I'm really happy.
The ASU men's golf team travels to Tucson this Saturday to compete in the Arizona Intercollegiate Tournament on Sunday. It will mark the team's first tournament in 2019 and also the first outing since Sun Devil golfer Chun An Yu took home the 2019 Australian Masters of the Amateurs on January 11th. The tournament will run Monday and Tuesday at the Sewilo Golf Club. The women's team won't be in Tucson until March, but they tee off against University of Denver in Gold Canyon on Sunday.
Continuing this week's trend of beating Oregon schools, the number 21 wrestling team opened up its Pac-12 slate with the win against Oregon State on Sunday, marking the second straight time ASU had defeated the Beavers in Corvallis. Back-to-back successful trips was a nice change of pace for ASU, who had previously suffered 5 straight losses when visiting the Beavers. After the victory, we caught up with Sun Devil wrestling coach Zeke Jones.
We talked about the other day, especially last week against Michigan. You said game of inches, close match. You guys were able to squeak one out today. Just provide me a statement on today's duel.
Yeah, I think, certainly every dual meet we're in is a fight. It's a battle. I think one thing we're good at is being battle tested. That if it gets difficult in a difficult moment and it's an equal bout, I feel confident the guys will fight for it. And I think that was probably the difference tonight, that there were a lot of close matches. If I go through in my brain how many there were. The ones that were close, I think we eked them out. We had to do the small things. I think we did it.
So you guys had 3 overtimes. Like you said, you did the small things to eke them out. How does that help you in the future, knowing that, hey, we're willing to go to overtime and we can get that takedown? Yeah,
well, I think that conditioning-wise, I think we're in great shape. I think even in the matches that they won, they were all close ones with the exception of heavyweight. Where we had several that we were able to split the score, and then a couple that were overtime. But I think in all the close matches, our fight was good, our conditioning was good, and we out-battled them in those spots. And I'm just trying to work my brain back through the matches, right? But I think overall, it was close bouts. We fought hard, and we're in better shape.
You were saying like the one at heavyweight wasn't really close. Brady was able to hold in there and keep it at a major instead of a tech ball, which could have made a little bit more. Desi could have maybe worked towards more of a pin there to get the 6. Talk about Daniel's performance there, even though he wasn't able to pull it out, just to wrestle tough.
Yeah, well, whether you win a match or lose a match, you have to protect the bonus points, and I think, Brady did that. He understood that, he needed to protect the bonus point. Obviously, wrestling one of the best heavyweights in the world, and that guy wrestled in the World Championships just 2 months ago for Canada. He's that good.
Yeah.
And so, I think he did his part by saving the bonus points. That could have been the difference. A lot of those matches could have went either way, and we could have been in a 16-15 dual meet, right? Yeah. So I think he did his part.
Big thank you to our own Travis Whitaker for traveling to Corvallis to cover that meet for us. Now we're going to wrestle away from the mat to the monitor as we welcome in Cronkite Sports Live executive producer Troy Tauscher.
Thanks for having me on social media, guys. It's a short week, so I decided to come in and pinch hit in place of all the great talent we have here that are way funnier and better than I am, but I will do my best, and we got some awesome tweets this week. The first one coming from ASU men's basketball. After they beat Oregon, they decided to do a little bit of editing to this clip from Super Smash Brothers, and you see King Dedede there getting hit by, I don't know who that character is, but it looks like a devil, so I guess it works for this. Now, guys, my question for you, favorite Smash Bros character?
Slight problem. Don't harass me on Twitter after this. I've never played Smash Bros. Before.
Say Mario.
I played Mario.
Everyone knows Mario. Mario's
okay,
in the game.
Let's go.
His favorite character is Mario.
Okay,
yeah.
Mario may be a good choice. I'm going to go with Kirby here. There's nothing like being able to fly around, steal some other characters' powers a little bit.
Yeah, Kirby is a lot of fun. I play a lot of Samus as a kid, even though I've never actually played a Metroid game. But we definitely know what we're doing after the show's done, and we're getting this guy to try out Mario on Smash Bros. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. Now, guys, one thing we learn a lot here at journalism school is the importance of branding. Yeah. And my brand recently has been AirPods. I have loved these things since I got them a couple weeks ago. I've become one of those annoying people that talks about them way too much. And one person who's hearing a lot about them is ASU men's basketball's Zylan Cheatham. He was talking about that earpod hype, and then he later corrected himself. Like I said, I hate people who have this thing they never shut up about, but I'm totally that person. And in fact, got him right now.
The flex.
The brand continues to be on
We are not sponsored by Apple, by the way. Just wanted to make sure that was clear. But maybe we should be.
Troy, I have a pair of AirPods of my own, and they're one of the greatest inventions known to mankind, in my opinion.
They definitely are. They're fantastic.
You say we're not sponsored by Apple. Keyword you forgot out is yet, because it's still very possible that can happen. I mean, everyone has to get that bread, obtain that grain. It's
obtain
totally,
the grain.
Totally
Hashtag
within reason.
obtain the grain. Let's get it a thing. We'll make it like Cronkite Sports Live's version of that joke. Now, final tweet we have here is, first of all, from ESPN, courtesy of NFL Films, has Sean McVay, the Rams head coach, has a person on his staff dedicated to keeping him just off the sidelines. And making sure that he doesn't go out on the field. And then so Twitter user Mitch Says Hey asked, how much does it pay? Does Bobby Hurley need/want one? Now guys, I think, you know me, I'm in the back room a lot. I'm not out here very much. There are times when I feel like I should get someone to like hold me back from walking in here. But what do you think? Bobby Hurley, could he use someone like that on his staff?
I'm going to say I would not want to be the person in charge of that position when Hurley gets heated on the court.
Oh, no.
That's not for me, you guys.
That sounds like a fantastic position, and I cannot wait to see that position opening on like some job board at some point. It's going to get so many applications. I think it'd be a good idea, though.
Now that is a way to obtain the grain, is have a job where your only job is literally just to stop one other person from like walking onto this space. Like, that's your entire job on a professional team's coaching staff. I don't know if it is, but I think it'd be a lot funnier if that was his only reason for being there. But, you know, fantastic week of tweets, guys. Thank you so much, and obtain that grain. Let's get it trending.
Obtain that grain. Troy, thanks so much for coming on. We appreciate it. Now, a lot of people know about Arizona State hockey in the desert. If you follow ASU on social media, if you follow sports in the Valley, you're probably well aware already of the Joey DeCords and the Johnny Walkers of the world. But what you may not realize is that this historic Arizona State Sun Devil hockey team
no, it does not. I don't really like pineapple on pizza at all. Pizza's more for meat and cheese, and that's maybe some veggies. That's it.
I think so. I think it tastes good. So I don't know. It tastes good to me. It's one of my favorites. So yeah, I would say yeah.
No, not at all. I hate Hawaiian pizza.
It's a tough question.
Ooh, there's a couple guys. I think I'd probably have to go with.
Oh, definitely Evan DeBrouwer.
Evan DeBrouwer or Guido Jansen's probably one of those two. They're always smelling better.
I would have to say just Evan DeBrouwer, our backup goalie.
I think definitely just beating Penn State in overtime so far. That's been definitely the number one.
You know, just playing my first game, I think probably. You know, it's been a dream to play like college hockey, and you know, getting to play here and throw on a college uniform is, and for ASU, I mean, I've always, you know, wanted to play here for a long time since I committed.
My best memory so far is this past Desert Classic tournament. Even though we didn't do as well as we hoped, I had a bunch of family there watching, and it was for the first time my family from Eastern Canada got to come over and watch me play, and it was pretty cool to have both sets of grandparents there and enjoy the entire week with them.
I think the only one that I could say is probably, you know what, we play our game and we'll be all right tonight.
You're putting me on the spot right now. I don't know.
Coach Power's a pretty serious guy on the ice. I mean, my best impression would just be like a straight face. Just, I don't know. You gotta look in the camera and do it. He just looks around on the ice sometimes and does that, but hopefully that doesn't change my ice time at all. Maybe hopefully he doesn't see this either. But
we play joke or make fun of Demetrius, saying Powers is his dad. I mean, he loves him. He's like his little golden child. So I guess we could say that. But probably have to get a picture of him and his dad for Secret Santa next year. Him and Powers. But yeah, no, I say that's probably the biggest joke. It's probably the funniest joke. But he's a little child on the team too, a little baby. So.
Great content from the men's hockey coverage team as always. Now it's time for that part of the show. It's the way it is. Harley and I are going to go back and forth, ask each other a few questions, and then the winner gets to talk for a few minutes. Harley, you ready to go?
Let's do it.
All right. So ASU Hockey has 8 games left over the course of the season. If they go 6-2, pretty good chance they make the 16-team field for the NCAA postseason as an independent team, which would be crazy. What do you think their record is over these next 8 games? Do you think they make the tournament?
Nick, let me preface this by saying no matter what happens down the stretch, ASU Hockey has made vast improvements. Yeah. That being said, I think they finished 5-3. 6 of those 8 games were on the road, where they're just 500 this season. So I'm going to go 5-3 the rest of the way.
Now you bring up a good point. They played a lot better at home than they have on the road. They're not exactly playing easy teams either. I wouldn't be surprised to see them make the tournament. Also wouldn't be surprised to see them not make the tournament. But I'm going to say they hit that 6-2 mark. I think they make the NCAA postseason, and I think Sun Devil hockey is going to be fun to watch for a lot of years to come.
That would be quite the feat, Nick. All right, we're going to go to ASU basketball here. In light of Tayshaun Cherry's electric performance the other night, who do you think their X factor is the rest of the season?
We've heard a lot about Remy Martin and Tayshaun Cherry and Zylan Cheatham, but we haven't heard a lot about Rob Edwards lately. Now, I know he'd been banged up at the beginning of the season, but he's really been flying out under the radar in Pac-12 play, so I'm excited to see what he does the rest of the way out. I think he ends up being that X factor.
Absolutely. Rob Edwards has certainly got to watch. I'm going to stick with Tayshaun Cherry. I think so far over the course of the season, fans have seen that the team goes as he goes. For that reason, I'm going to stick with Cherry.
Okay, that's fair. So lastly, we have Wells Fargo Arena. Braden Bell came up with that fantastic nickname, The Bank. Go ahead and fill in the blank. Come up with a nickname for another ASU stadium.
Nick, now this is going to seem really cheesy, a little bit corny here. I'm renaming Sun Devil Stadium to the Train Station, coined by Ray Anderson and Herm Edwards themselves. I think it's too good not to come to fruition, and for that reason, Sun Devil Stadium is now the Train Station.
Okay, that's fair. I'm a big baseball guy, so I wanted to play around with Phoenix Muni. Spencer Torkelson, as a freshman, he led the country in home runs last year. So I'm going to go with the bomb range. Spencer Torkelson, he unleashed so many torque bombs last year at Phoenix Muni. And the crazy thing is, the fences are like closer to home plate, so he's going to hit even more home runs. ASU baseball is going to be fun to watch. Spencer Torkelson is going to be fun to watch because he's going to be hitting torque bombs at the bomb range. So now we're going to let the producers in the control room decide. I don't know. I'm feeling pretty good.
I feel pretty good too. We're going to find out here in a second, though.
We'll see. Oh yes, we will. This has been a fun show. You've been fun to anchor with. And
you as well. Give me the win here. Thank you.
Unbelievable.
Let's talk about Bobby Hurley and the men's basketball team. Just a month ago, Hurley and his team were celebrating what seemed to be another signature win over the Kansas Jayhawks. It's quite a different picture now, isn't it? The answer really depends on who you ask. After consecutive letdowns against Princeton and Utah, some started to question Hurley's ability to coach, perhaps rightfully so. But he responded. Sitting arguably his two biggest stars in Lou Genstor and Remy Martin, Hurley sent a message that he is more than just a recruiter. He is capable of making the tough decisions that define coaches over their careers. Sure, it was a regular season game against Colorado, but it was a much-needed win and one that gave a brighter outlook to the season for ASU men's hoops fans and players alike. After sweeping the Oregon schools in impressive fashion, Hurley will take his squad, ranked 3rd in the Pac-12 by the way, to the Los Angeles schools with the chance to get on a hot streak. So sit back and relax, ASU Hoop fans, because Hurley has his program in a better position than most coaches could ever hope to put it in, and that's the way it is.
All right, time for top plays, top 3 plays of the last week or so, and for play number 3, we're going to head out to Phoenix Muni. It's not baseball season yet, but Spencer Torkelson, Carter Aldretti, a home run derby. They had a home run derby in the Cape Cod Baseball League. Carter Aldretti, he won it in double overtime. That is now 2 times that Carter Aldretti has won a home run derby over the reigning home run champion.
Nick, you were talking about bombs just a short minute ago. Zylan Cheatham here dropping a bomb right over former ASU commit Kemi Wooten's head. Look out. Let's watch this again here. Beautiful spin and just absolutely posterizes the Oregon big man.
I'm not going to question our producers. I'm surprised that wasn't the top play, but I think it was for good reason because Cairo Leonard Baker on the bars, 9.975, a near perfect 10 at UCLA on Monday. She was absolutely incredible. ASU couldn't quite hang on. Look at that finish. Cairo Leonard Baker, reigning Pac-12 Freshman of the Year. ASU gymnastics, they were good last year. They're going to be good for a long time to come, especially because of Cairo Leonard Baker.
Absolutely. I would not be surprised to see her hit a perfect 10 score.
It has to happen, right?
It has to. I believe it will. Nick, it was such a great show today. Such an honor to sit behind the desk and anchor with you. We will be back at the same time, same place next week. Thank you for tuning in to Cronkite Sports Live.